After failing to sign Harry Kane, Man United have had a pretty horror window. A lot of problems that were suggested at the start of the summer haven't been addressed by Erik ten Hag and his recruitment team. In today's video, we will be discussing those problems and how Man United should address them moving forward.
I think United have had a pretty poor window because I just think, you look at the players that they've signed, right? Funny enough, the guy is on the screen, reguilon. I just think that is a poor signing for Man United. You can't be signing Tottenham's dead wood if you're a club like Manchester United.
You're a Tottenham fan, you know what reguilon's like, don't you?
He's awful. In my opinion, genuinely he's awful. I just don't see why you'd sign a player because he barely played at Atletico, can't even get in our team, and yet you'd sign him as a guy to,
Do you reckon it's just last minute signing, or it's because of Luke Shaw's injury?
Yeah, 100% panic, 100% panic, and that's why I just don't think a lot of their signings. By the way, this is what I think that United should address. Like, you look at the players that they have, Rashford and Garnacho and Sancho and Anthony. They're not the type of players that Ten Hag's system sort of utilises. They're not them kind of players.
It's not possession. He wants players for possession-based football, and they're more for counter-attack.
I think he should just sign more players that are tailored to Ten Hag's system. And whether that's down to Ten Hag himself or the recruitment team, I don't know. But you look at the likes of De Jong, be perfect for Ten Hag's system. But
I agree.
You look at the players that they got. They just don't really suit the way Ten Hag wants to play. It's just not really the kind of players that he wants for possession-based football. You look at the likes of City, who have Grealish and Bernardo. No, they're not pacey wingers.
No.
Whereas you look at United, and they're pacey wingers. They're just wingers that can be good in the counter-attack. But when it comes to breaking teams down, we've seen it already this season. They just don't have the ability of doing that. And I just don't really see their signings. They just don't convince me. Amrabat should have been done earlier.
He's a good sign, I think, because I think he could help partner alongside Casemiro.
He helped Casemiro out in that midfielder. He won't get United's midfield won't get overrun like it did. But then
do you think they'll play a box midfield with Fernandes, Mount, Casemiro, and Amrabat, or do you reckon they will play Amrabat and Casemiro and Fernandes as a 10?
That's a good question, and I think they could go for a box midfield. That's a good system to use.
Will help retain possession, won't it? Because Man United have been overrun a lot in midfield this season, having the extra body in there and that stability, because obviously we know Mount and Fernandes are very forward-thinking players. If you have Amrabat and Casemiro as a 2 and those 2 in front, it's not a possession-based midfield like Ten Hag would probably really want, but it will be better at retaining the ball. They wouldn't get as much bullied in there. There'd be a bit more physical presence and a bit more tenacity in that midfield, which they do need. Look against Wolves earlier on in the season. They just got carved through, and Casemiro got the run around against Tottenham as well. As good as he is, you can't really play Mount, Fernandes and Casemiro like we all initially thought.
That's the thing, and if Amrabat comes in and he does replace Mount, I think that just highlights the obvious shocking recruitment that United have. Because if Amrabat's replacing Mount, which I don't think he is, but if he does replace Mount, that's woeful business by Man United. Bringing in Mount, who's £60 million, and you have to replace him already because you've figured out that your midfield is good enough. I just think on paper, it looks like a good midfield, Bruno, Mount and Casemiro. But at the end of the day, Ten Hag and the United recruitment team should be knowing these things if it'll work or not. It might look good on paper, but at the end of the day, you look at Liverpool's recruitment in the past and City's now. They bring in players that are good for their system, and they are perfect for them. There's no issue for them. But with United, that's the thing. They might sign these glamour players that look good on paper, but like I said, if Amrabat's replacing Mount, I just think that highlights the shocking business. And like I said with reguilon, again, it's definitely a panic signing.
I do think it's because of Luke Shaw's injury, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I understand
they probably do need more depth in that position, aren't they?
They do. Ryan, as we know, has injury issues. So he's not going to be fit for a full season, we know that. So you're going to have Lindelof coming in for him, Martinez, Wan-Bissaka and reguilon. In my opinion, that's a pretty ropey defence. I think that's a very risky defence to have, in my opinion. But, I guess we'll see. But I just don't have any sort of confidence United.
Well, it's like Wan-Bissaka, you don't think he's suited to possession-based football. He's not that sort of right. Dalot more so, but obviously he's really not the full article. He's really, although he's good in both going forward and defensively, he's not really the level you want to be starting at right back. I think Ten Hag, he's trying to find a balance for a tenacious team in midfield, a team which can win the ball back, but also a team which can retain the ball. And I think he thinks Fernandes and Mount are good players, obviously in the transition, and are good at retaining the ball. But off the ball, although they do work hard, are they really suited to that? So it's trying to find the right balance in the midfield. I think that's what he struggled with. And obviously, because they didn't get Kane and they got Højlund in, there's a lot of eyebrows raised there.
I think that's the big issue.
Well, look at Rashford. When he's going for a purple patch, he's a brilliant player. But when he's not scoring, like I said, because he goes through purple patches, where are the goals in that team?
I think that's a big issue, not signing Harry Kane, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that as a Tottenham fan. I just think United should have went all out for Kane. You can't rely on a 20-year-old kid to get you out of trouble. And we're talking about top 4 here. We're not even talking about a title, which is what United should be aiming for. So the fact you're relying on a 20-year-old kid or 21-year-old kid to get you out of trouble to get in a top 4 race, I think that's very, very poor. And the players that they've definitely needed to get out, and they haven't. And that's a big main reason why I don't think they've had a good summer, because they've had the amount of players like Maguire, McTominay. I know people be like, oh, they're refusing to go. At the end of the day, you just got to get them out, no matter how. And I say this as a Tottenham fan, we should have had way more players that should have been left. Should have been sold to summer.
Also helps with the finances as well, because they would have had the likes of McTominay and Maguire sold. You could have got maybe 60 million for the pair.
Yeah.
That could go towards another player, towards maybe the Harry Kane money, if they would have obviously put an offer for Harry Kane.
I think that's definitely a big miss, not bringing in Harry Kane, and obviously they got him in the Champions League now. So could that could that bite him? Could that come back to bite him? Well, I guess we'll see. But like I said, I just don't see a plan with United's recruitment, and I think that's the main thing. And I think United fans would probably be inclined to agree with that.
Like, this team doesn't seem like it's made a significant step on from last season. But in terms of the identity that Ten Hag has, we all know Ten Hag likes to play possession football, but in terms of his identity on the pitch, it's still not there. Yes, I know he's only had a season in charge, and it will take maybe a couple of years for them to reach that really good level, which we probably know Ten Hag could produce, because look at his Ajax team. It was a really good team. But at the moment, considering United have a lot of pulling power and decent finances, they haven't recruited well at all.
No, I don't think they've brought in, like I said, I just don't think they've brought in a plan for this summer. I just don't think there's been a plan.
Or if they did have a plan, it just went straight out the window.
Well, clearly, yeah. This is what I would say as well with Amrabat. Listen, I might be wrong here because I don't know too much about him, but is he good on the ball? Is he good in possession?
He's decent. I don't think he's any better than Casemiro. He's not like a Rodri sort of player. He can ping a pass, but he is probably, I'd say he's much better as an off-the-ball midfielder.
Yeah.
And like we said, he's trying to find that balance, Ten Hag, between players who can win possession back and be tenacious and not get run through like they did against Wolves, where they just got their midfielders absolutely run through and torn to shreds. And obviously trying to have midfielders who are good at retaining the ball. It's a very hard balance. And sometimes, obviously, managers will take a while to get the right players in place. But I think United fans, after so many years of mediocrity, they really just want a window where they know what players are coming in, the system they're going to play, and obviously they want success from that. And it'd be interesting to see if Ten Hag, with these players, can push on this season, because I'm not sure whether they can.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they can maybe reach the heights that United fans maybe expect. And, Ten Hag's second season, all United fans have been saying it, you do expect, not a title win, but a title charge. I just don't see United are really challenging for the title, and I think they should get top four with the quality that they have. I think they should get top four. It'd be obviously a big shock if they didn't. But top four is not the aim. We're not. You're talking about Man United here. You're talking about Man United, and they are always looking to win the title. That's what they always try and do. That's what their aims are. And with Ten Hag's second season, finishing third, you only have to improve from that. At the end of the day, anything lower than third place is obviously a bit of a.
And they got to try and win one of the domestic trophies as well. They always got to try and win things, obviously, a couple of their stature. And if you're a United fan, let us know in the comments, what do you rate this window out of 10 from Ten Hag? Do you think it's been an underrated window? Do you think, obviously, you haven't addressed in the right areas? And where do you think Man United will finish the season? Do you think they'll finish top four? Do you think they'll go deep in Europe? Do you think they'll win either of the domestic cups? It'd be interesting to see what they think, because from an outsider's point of view, being a Tottenham and a Liverpool fan, we feel like the problems haven't been addressed and there isn't a clear identity and a clear style of play. But as we've said previously, I think Ten Hag is just tinkering with it at the moment, and he doesn't really. I don't even think he knows what his best team or what best players are suited to playing in different positions.
I'd probably agree with that, yeah. And I think the title, it says in the title, I think this window just sums up Manchester United as a club in the last few years. Just sort of stopgap signings. You look at the amount of stopgap signings they've done, by the way, like the likes of Cavani, Weghorst, even Reguilon now. There's just so many. I can't think of loads of them.
It's like they really find it hard to try and find the player who's the perfect fit. And don't get me wrong, yes, it is. Sometimes teams do wait a while for the perfect player, obviously in the right position, but you just got to get it done, get over the line. And there's plenty of options out there around Europe who would improve this Man United team and wouldn't cost an arm and a leg and are available, but it's just Ten Hag's got to find them, and same with the United recruitment team.
Would the Glazers be happy with this if they get top four? Because at the end of the day, that's their aim. I'm surprised they haven't sold the club yet. I don't know anything about that because I'm not a Tottenham fan. So United fans in the comments, let me know if the Glazers are selling the club, because I haven't really kept in the loop with it. But is the Glazers happy with this? Because it could get a top four finish, and at the end of the day, that is their aim. The Glazers, that's what they're the club for, and that's why United fans have been so frustrated with them. So this probably does lie down to the Glazers. With this shocking recruitment team, because who hires a recruitment team? The owners. And I just think this has just been Man United's story the last few years, and just sort of
the last decade, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like just sort of ever since they didn't really win the title, just sort of stopgap signings maybe, and a recruitment team not being good enough, and signing players that aren't catered to United's system, and they just never exceed their expectations. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these players could do well, but as a Tottenham fan, knowing Reguilon, I know for a fact Reguilon will not do well. That is a
Bold
genuinely, no, it's genuinely, it's a shock. I was shocked. It's a shocking signing. It's genuinely an awful signing. So you got to hope that Luke Shaw's not injured for long, because Reguilon genuinely is. I mean, if you can't make our team, a team that finished 8th, how is this guy signing for a team that finished 3rd? I have no idea, because they're looking at Cucurella as well, who we know has had a poor season last year, but he has shown glimpses of quality, whereas Reguilon's not as much. You know, he's not really hit the heights that Tottenham fans would expect him to. So I highly doubt he'd do that at a club like Manchester United. But I guess we'll see.
Anyway, guys, that is our opinion on Manchester United and where they should improve and how they should improve and what are their main problems moving forward. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.